Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Today we're reviewing this amazing game. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the one thing that I can't get over. If you're thinking about buying this game, watch this video first because hopefully it's going to give you an idea for what you should expect and whether it is worth your hard-earned dollars. And it's not going to be for everyone. There's some things that people are going to see and they're not going to buy this game, but for a lot of you, I think this is going to pass the vibe check. So let's talk about the vibe check first. This game, basically, it feels like sort of an Oblivion Skyrim successor if the games were a little bit darker and developed by an indie company. After all, the developer of this game is Awaken Realms, a developer you probably haven't heard of, and the developers of Oblivion and Skyrim is, well, Bethesda. If you don't know who Bethesda is, you really need to figure out the whole gaming space in general. Bethesda made Oblivion and Skyrim, and if you don't know those games, by the way, go play those first. This game is not better than those two literal industry-changing games. They're amazing RPGs, and this falls into the same category. It does feel like a successor. It feels like an indie successor, but it feels like a successor. So let's get into the storyline, because in my opinion, with an RPG, that's one of the big things that matters. So the storyline is, you're in the land of Avalon. This is happening about 100 to 200 years after the fall of King Arthur, after King Arthur's basically disappeared, died, however you want to put it. He's gone. You deal with King Arthur a little bit, but it's not him. It's sort of the husk of what remains of him. And by the way, I haven't gotten terribly far into the game, so if I do spoil anything, it's completely accidental, and I have no idea what happens with King Arthur, how that whole thing ends. Anyways, I do want to find out. Anyways, King Arthur. It's the land of King Arthur, but this story is a little bit different. It's a little bit darker. It's a little bit more mysterious. It's what has happened after King Arthur has left this land. You're coming into the land. There's necromancers. There's undead. There's all sorts of crazy stuff happening, and it's up to you to figure it out. The mystery slowly unravels through the main quests and side stories. There's a lot of areas to explore in this game, and the map seems to be littered with things to see and do. The map does feel a little bit small, and you're talking about 50 hours of gameplay total. If you're a little bit of a slower player, you really like to enjoy things, I think you could get 80 to 100 hours. As far as replayability goes, I don't think there's a ton of replayability here. There are factions, and you're going to be able to side with different factions and sort of choose the ending that you like, so there is some replayability there. But to me, this doesn't feel like a land that I really want to live in, a land that I want to explore for hundreds of hours. It's a game that I want to play. I want to get that story out. I want to finish this game, which is really saying something. But it's not a game that I can see myself replaying and coming back to just to live in the environment. And part of that is due to some issues that we're going to talk about later. Anyways, overall, the storyline is good. There's a little bit of dark humor in it. The dialogue it doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time, it really does deliver on a story and envelop you into the overall world that you're entering, the world of Avalon. It's beautiful. It's spectacularly done. There's really good voice acting to it. I played the game a little bit early, so not all of the voice acting lines were in, but most of it was. Like I'd say almost probably like 99% of the dialogue was voiced by the time I got around to playing it. But overall, really, really stellar storyline. I do like it. It brings me in. The characters all seem to have a little bit of depth to them. It doesn't have an AI to the level that you're seeing in Skyrim or Oblivion. Some of the characters are a bit dumb. There's a lot of cheesing that you can do. In Oblivion, this did exist, but in this game, it feels like it is existing to a whole nother level. But you've got sort of that cheese in there where you can, if you want, you can play the characters, you can play some of the game mechanics, and really fight things that you have no business fighting. That said, it is a single-player game. It's co-op, but it's basically a game where you play with your friends or you play on your own, and you can decide how you want to play it. There's nothing wrong with cheating in a single-player game, in my opinion, unless you're doing a speedrun, of course. Anyways, the game overall, the story is great, the voice acting is great, the music is spectacular, it fits the land, it fits the realm, it really gives it that eerie, that creepy, that sort of mysteriously dark feeling. I love it. Now, let's move on to the mechanics and all of that, because I do have some issues here. So first off, the RPG, the skill system, all of that, it is fine. It's more of the Skyrim style system. You can do some cool things with like crafting and making food and upgrading armor, and it has all of those systems in. The attributes, the skills, all of that's in there. You can upgrade it. It's all pretty standard fare, in my opinion. You're not getting anything groundbreaking. Overall, this is going to be an RPG system that you're used to. It's a run-of-the-mill system. This isn't something that the game really tries to excel in. but it passes the bar, right? It's good enough. If you're someone who likes to min-max characters, play with every little dial, and try and figure out the best way to make a character, you can do that to an extent, but this probably isn't going to scratch that itch. Now, another itch it's not going to scratch is the graphical itch or the feeling itch, or if you want combat that's smooth and flowing and just feels right, I don't know if this is going to be the game for you. At times, the combat, the animations, it does feel clunky. For instance, when you jump, it feels like instead of jumping, you're sort of hurtling your body in an awkward way. When you run, it feels like you're a little bit crouched. This is in third person, by the way. First person, it works a little bit better. If you're familiar with Oblivion or Skyrim, not the fully polished versions that exist now, but the versions that were originally launched, it feels like that. It really does. It scratches that itch. Like I said earlier, it passes the vibe check. It feels like that sort of game, which I really do love. But for some people, if you're looking for a fully polished, beautiful game that has amazing mechanics to it, go pick out. There's a million games like that. Elden Ring, for instance, is a really good game when it comes to the feel of it. This is not that. The combat does feel a little clunky. Again, the AI isn't quite up to par in my opinion. There's certain things that do feel off. But again, you've just got to be willing to overlook it. You can be a ranged archer. There is stealth. It doesn't quite feel that good, so I wouldn't recommend building a stealth character. But you can go ranged. You've got magic. You've got, swordsmanship. You can be one hand, two hand. You can just use your fists. All that exists, and when it comes to playstyles, it will fit everybody's playstyle. It just does feel clunky. I don't know if it's because I was mainly playing in third person, but to me, there are hits that I felt like they should miss. There were characters that were way too easy to cheese. There were just things that didn't feel quite like they should have. But again, Oblivion and Skyrim both have that feelings. And I don't think it holds the game back, to be honest. If you immerse yourself in the world, this is just one of those things that feels a little off, but it's not going to pull you out of that immersion. In the same sense with the graphics, there's beautiful moments in this game. There are times when I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking, why am I thinking these graphics aren't good? This is amazing. But then you get to a dialogue option, or you just see your character jump or do something awkward, and you realize, yes, this is not a AAA game. This isn't a AA game. This is an indie game. And that's okay, because this game strikes the perfect balance between jank and feeling just right. They know how to do the dialogue so that you can overlook some of the combat issues, so you can overlook some of the graphical issues. The game feels like it doesn't take itself so seriously, and because of that, you're willing to give it a little bit of leeway. And where it counts, the story, the overall skilling, everything like that, it comes through in the clutch. These developers knew what they were doing, they knew where to focus, and they made an amazing game. Whether the game's worth it for you, it's going to really depend on how willing you are to overlook graphics and how willing you are to overlook some of the mechanics not being what you get with a AAA game. If you're willing to overlook that and enjoy an amazing story, I think this game will be one that you enjoy. You just have to set the perfect price point. Right now, I believe the game's planning to retail for $45, which is a steep price given the fact that it's probably only got 50 to 100 hours of content. That said, if you're looking for a story to take on, if you just got done playing Oblivion, the remastered edition, this might be the perfect thing to move into. If you're willing to give it a little time, if you're willing to wait, you can probably pick this game up for less. You can probably pick it up for $20. If you wait a couple years, you might even be able to get it for $15 or $10. I think this game's going to sell well, but I think eventually there are going to be sales, and you're going to be able to get a deal. So whether you wait is up to you. Just make sure you avoid some spoilers if you do decide to wait. This game is definitely one you want to check out. It's definitely a game you're going to enjoy, and if you're a fan of Oblivion or Skyrim, I think this is a must. Thank you for watching this review. If you have any questions, comments, or you just want to give your opinion, leave it down below. Until next time, peace.